Welcome to part 2 of CMS training for SEIU and Classified Senate web pages. Before in part 1 at the end we were looking at this component here, which we said was the text image component. But if we look here, we actually see the other component that I got it confused with, which is the CCSF document link component. Let's drag that to right over, and we see that we have another one here. When I edit this one, I can add a document here very simply. I can in fact drag similarly to the image I dragged into the page. I can drag a document. So that can be a PDF. That can really be any document, any kind of image document or even a text document, but something that's saved in a file outside of CMS here. So I bring it in, I'm bringing it in, you can't see where I'm bringing it in, but I'm bringing it in from the desktop, and I copy it here, and this is what I get. It's the image file of the leadership locator, the one I was using before. Before I dragged this same file in to create the image, but now I'm creating it as a document, in fact a document with a file extension PNG. I go back, and whoops, it's not there. Why isn't it there? Because CMS is funny when you go back. It seems to lose what you've done, but actually if you refresh at the top, it won't lose it. However, it still looks like we lost it, but if we go and edit it, oh, it did lose it. Okay, I think I know why. When I dragged it, so this is a good lesson. When I dragged it, I probably shouldn't have. Rather, I should have clicked here, browsed, and went to where I wanted it, right there from the desktop, and then said OK, and now I have it there. So when I click on it, it brings me to, it actually brings me to download it. I generally tend not to use this document link. I'll show you what I prefer. So I'll delete this this box, this component right now, and we'll leave this one because it seems to be working okay on the live page, and it's the way it's been.
You click on it.
If I click on it, I'll get the same thing. I'll get a download. But if I go to the live page, let's see what happens when I click on it there. I'm brought to another browser tab. So this is fine and good. I tend to just not use it because there's another way I do it, and I'll show you what that is. So we'll get out of the live page here. So I think we went over what exists currently on the Classified Senate page. On the right hand side are similarly a text box and title page, title component, excuse me, just as there are on the middle column here. So this page's design, we're not going to go into design right now, but this page's design has 3 columns. It comes from a particular template with 3 columns. The left column is what we call left-hand navigation, and the 2 other columns are your own content. The navigation is just to navigate through the hierarchy of the pages. So I'm going to go to SEIU, and I'm going to find it here, another child page, a sister page, if you will, of Classified Senate. And I'll click there, and this is the SEIU Local 1021 City College chapter homepage. Also with 3 columns. It has similar design because it comes from the same parent page. The parent pages typically determine the design of the child pages. So we have the title component on the top. This title component, just so you know, you cannot delete this title component. This title component particularly comes with the design of the page. So you can leave it blank. The way you do that is deleting all the text, hitting OK, and then, oops, something still shows up. And let's see, if I put something else, we'll do that something else. And if I then try to keep deleting, oh, it reverts back. Because it reverts back because that's the given title of this page when it was first created. This can be changed, however. Maybe we'll have time for this, so we'll get to this, or maybe not today. But we can put a bookmark there in our minds. This is an image. If I edit the image, I'll see where the image is and the advanced properties wherein you have to put the title of the image. Like we mentioned before, when I go over it, you'll see the title pop up visually, and also for the visually impaired when they use a reader that helps with understanding the content of web pages. These are all links. How do I create links? The way I do it, as opposed to using document text, I just use text. In other words, I grab a text component and I drag it out to here, and I make links from the text. And the way you do that is by having text, and highlighting where I want to link, then clicking on the hyperlink button, and I can create several types of links here. One, I can go to an external web page like www. Let's say SEIU 1021. I can open it in a new window or not, and then hit OK. And then we'll see the link appear. I can go back to it and edit it. What I prefer when going to pages that are within CMS is not to put the www.ccsf.edu, etc. Instead, I like to search for it within the CMS, and there's a specific reason why. That is, when I go and make sure that even though all these look like folders, they're not necessarily all folders. This CCSF is actually a set of web pages similar to these web pages. Oh, they all have the folder icon, unfortunately. So if I go to a web page within CMS, then let's say I I want to link to the research page. I will select the web page I want, in this case research. I'll hit OK. Then I'll see the pathway that the link will take. What's great about this is that if ever this research page should move up or down or anywhere within CMS, so will this pathway. So that it'll always stick to linking to this page. However, if I instead did this, which links to the same page currently, if this should ever change, CMS is not smart enough to reroute it to the right place. So if this ends up being a dead end, a dead link at some point in the future, it will also be a dead end in the live web page when you click on this link. So I prefer to find the web page within CMS if it's an internal web page that is internal to City College. Similarly, similar to linking to web pages, you can link to documents, and this is the way I prefer to link to documents. Let's go into the DAM, which I believe stands for Digital Asset Management. I go to Organizational Assets, where most of our files are kept. Go into anywhere here. We have a lot of CCSF departments located under the department folder. We have also some areas under About CCSF, including our SEIU images. So if I wanted this link to go to, for example, our classified holiday schedule, I would highlight it. Don't worry about this sub-assets, just remain highlighted here. Click OK. And if I wanted to open a new window, which is typically what I like to do for documents, I'll click this box, hit OK. Now this is linked to the classified holiday schedule. I can't test it when I'm editing it, but I can say OK and test it now. Test the test link. Click on it, and I'm getting the classified holiday schedule, which I will exit out from. I will go in, I will delete this test. The hyperlink is behind the scenes. It's all spelled out here. But this is any text you want. So I could even put just a parenthetical sign and hyperlink that to an extremely long web address, for example. So the link is behind the scenes and doesn't have to do with the front face.
So when you made the link to the classified holiday schedule and you found it in the DAM folder, how did it get into the DAM folder?
Good question. So that's one of the next things we'll talk about.
Okay.
I'll cancel out of this. When I'm happy with all my changes to this page, and only when I'm happy with the changes, I will go here to the second tab, here, this page tab. I will activate the page. Once I activate the page, then in several minutes' time, it will adjust the live page to look as it looks here when you last activated it. But between the time you last activated a page and the next time you activated a page, what you are playing around with here does not show up until you activate it. So I could delete this whole component, but nothing will happen until and unless I activate the page. Now, I would be very careful to delete components you're not absolutely sure you don't want to keep, because if I were to delete this component and say, yes, I really do want to delete it, there's no place I can go to recreate this exactly. I can go to the live page before I activate it again and copy and paste that, but
there's no undo.
There is no undo. Okay. It is not like a Microsoft Office program. You cannot hit Control-Z and undo, unfortunately. So that's why be careful when deleting components, and also be very careful when deleting pages. And in fact, I would say never delete a page. I would say for now, just deactivate a page. Because you can always reactivate a page from a deactivated state.
But you can only delete a page if you have permissions.
That's correct. You can only activate, deactivate, or delete pages that you have permission to do so. But a lot of folks' permissions overlap. So I have been given wide permission, including in other departments, and so I have to be very careful, especially when working on pages from other departments, what I do, because I'm given the full control for that. So next, in our final segment, we will discuss putting in files into the DAM. We will also discuss how to deal with image components.